So we are working on today line 7 of the density performance task rubric. You should have completed line 5 and therefore have all of your density data now in a spread, all of your mass and your volume data in a spreadsheet in Google Sheets. So if we look at line 7, where I'm actually going to make 3 videos, 2 or 3 videos, at least 2. Here, the first video is going to be about how to get a 2 out of 4 on line 7 of the rubric. And to get a 2 out of 4, you need to calculate density from your data as shown in this video. So if we go to my example spreadsheet, some of you may have more lines in your data table because you did more objects. I'm just going to do these 4 as an example. If we go back to SimBucket, we see that density has units of grams per milliliter. Grams per milliliter. So if I go to my data table, I'm going to add density, grams per milliliter. And we know that if I have something in the numerator over something in the denominator, what that means is that I'm supposed to divide. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to divide grams. Grams is the mass. So cell B2, and it's B2 because it's column B, row 2, B2, divided by cell E2. So this is column E, row 2, E2. Notice that I'm using this volume because that's the actual volume of the object. The actual volume of the object is the volume that we calculated. So now I get my density for gold. So that would just be this mass divided by this volume. Now, one thing I have to watch out for is my significant digits. Significant digits just means that I am getting the right number of numbers in my answer. So if I look here, I have 4 digits or numbers in my mass, 3 in my volume, 3 in my final volume, 3 in my initial volume, 3 in my final volume. After subtracting, I end up with only 2 in my actual volume. So that means my final answer should only have 2 digits in it, and it does in this case. Now, I am going to go ahead and put a cross here. I want to show you some of the features of electronic spreadsheets. If I put a cross here in the lower right-hand corner of the cell, I can then just copy and paste the formula all the way down. So the math is already done for me. See, this is now B3 divided by E3. And then this becomes B4 divided by E4. So the mass of the lead divided by the volume of the lead. But I didn't even have to put it in. You could put it in. You could just say this equals 40.53 divided by 2.1, right? So you could, and if I round this down, decrease decimal places because I really just want to have 2 because of all of these numbers in my calculation, the number with the least amount of digits or numbers has 2. So again, you could just do the math if you wanted to, but I think it's pretty neat that the spreadsheet can do the math for you. Now here, if I look at this answer doesn't have enough digits. I have the mass with 3 digits, showing 3, and my object has 2 digits. So this should have 2 digits. So if I want to increase the decimal places, I go like that. And actually, when we think about foam, this should be increased twice because this decimal place, if we look at it, well, 1.0, yes, you could round it. Foam floats. So it's important to realize that the foam, if we go back here, the density of water is 1 gram per milliliter. So anything that floats like foam should have a density that's less than 1. So really to get a more accurate picture of what's going on with the foam, we should have it be less than 1. So that's rounded a little bit differently, just to take into account, if any object you have floats, it should be less than 1. So just be careful with that. Or again, if you just want to do the math, you can. You can say the mass is 2.76 divided by 2.8, which gives you this number. But that number does have to be reduced down a bit because otherwise it's just too many significant digits. It's too many numbers because your data does not have that many numbers. Okay, for lead, here we have 4 significant digits, 3, 3, 2. And so having 2 is good. Here we have 2, and really we only need to look at the mass and the volume. The rubber, again, the rubber sank. So to take that into consideration, we really should, even though having 1 significant digit, if we look at our mass and our volume, we really don't even have to look at these um, numbers for the initial volume and the final volume, because what we're using for our calculation is the mass and the volume. If we look at the mass and the volume, we really need 1 significant digit because this 0 here is a placeholder. But we have to take into account that the the of the water. So we see if we do that, it's 1.3. So this is what you need to do in order to get a 2 out of 4 on the rubric. All you need to do is basically, in summary, okay, and I'm going to summarize this. I wanted to go through the process, but now I'm going to summarize for you. All you really need to do to redo this for you, put in the title density, the header density with the units, and then you're just going to do the division. And I'm going to do this through a formula. Okay. And then for my cross, whoops, didn't need this one. And then just make sure that each one has the 2 significant digits. And, if it's something is floating, it should have a density of less than 1 when you round. And if something is sinking, it should have a density that is greater than 1.